les pido un caluroso aplauso para Carlos Ferguson.
Bueno, muchas gracias.
Okay, thank you very much.
La verdad que tengo que agradecer la presencia, la invitación que me han hecho aquí.
I'm very thankful that I am able to be here and to this audience that you're here.
Interesado por esta temática,
and you're interested for these subjects. I think this is very nice and easy to congratulate. Congratulations for being here and the people that are interesting. And also I want to thank the organizers, the effort that they are doing for this event that is going to be the kick to other new events. Okay. There are many bills that we have to see, images. I'm not going to tire you with introduction. We will see the images and we will see one after the other one. Each one of these images, these slides that I will show you, this is a sentence from Borges. This is the only time that the Argentinian writer, he referred to the UFO phenomenon. In a very lucid and simple way, he said, it's something strange that happens every
Lo que vamos a ver son los mensajes subyacentes del fenómeno a través de la estadística. Argentina todavía estaba en un proceso de elaboración. Hoy justamente hace 4 años.
Precisely, it's 4 years ago we were presenting this in front of politicians in Argentina, in Rosario.
Y bueno,
I think this doesn't work. Okay, it works now. Creo que tengo el micro apagado, si vas.
Voy a pasar un email, que está súper ordenado.
4 years ago we presented this to the politicians. To the political class. It's a governance that always is a little bit against it and ignores it, maybe because it doesn't have any interest, or there is a special interest, but we did it in Rosario 4 years ago. And this is a homage. Okay, it's working now. I was talking about this, and I want to make a homage to a colleague that left us in Mexico, an Argentinian colleague, Luis Reynoso. He was the promoter of this presentation in the political class. And he was a great investigator in the 60s and 70s. And I also present for the one that was my partner. And she left us many years ago, but for many years he has been with me in the investigation. Each investigator that has a partner like I had, this is a spirit which is very positive to go forward with the investigation. Okay. I was skeptical about these things, and I ignored many things about the ovni phenomenon. And sometimes I maybe was a little despective or ridiculed the UFOs. In January of the '76 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, we could see with many people the presence of an object that was flying very low, and it was a metal flying saucer. And this was the key so that I started with the whole investigation. The building that is in this drawing, and the UFO would be on the third floor of the house. And that's the height it was flying, 250 meters of diameter. Now we have a first recording. The stranger that came to my door, maybe it's sincere and is a good-willed, but he doesn't speak like me. I cannot guess his thought. I see the face and the eyes and the mouth, but not the soul that's behind that. The men in my own stirrup can proceed in a good or bad, but they tell the lies that I am used to. They are used to the lies that I say. And we don't need interpreters when we go out to buy and sell. The men from my own lineage may be perverse and cruel, but at least they listen and hear the things that I hear and see the things that I see. And it doesn't matter what I think about them and their preferences. They think in what I prefer. This sentence is from Rudyard Kipling, The Stranger. We will have to go back there, yes? Again? It's Rudyard Kipling. This sentence tells us why there's so much denying, and the denying, it's the people are afraid of the unknown. It was built as a kind of a metallical gray tube with clear windows and two metallic discs, as if they were priesthood hats with a couple in the center and following the missile without changing their own positions. We are looking at a drawing from this viewing with the flying saucers. This is the first commission of studying that studied the UFO study, called the ESR 33 cabinet. Now, can I ask you to give me the next slide, please?
Ese gabinete SR33 tenía a los más prestigiosos científicos de Italia, pero no como un fin de estudiar algo extraterrestre, sino
They didn't intend to study the extraterrestrials, but they wanted to study how these objects that looked like cigarettes. They appeared in Italy, and they were afraid in the exterior politics. He thought that they would have to change all of it if these objects were coming from different powers close to Italy. All of this has an introduction, because you will see that this first commission, this UFO commission, is the first one that points to the confidentiality of the reports. Its commission is created, and it's also the first time that the information is hidden, because most of all because of security reasons. Okay. I'm gonna advance a little bit with the information, then we will see with something that Michael Salas spoke about yesterday, 19th July 1952, when different ovnis were flying over the White House. There is created there a research commission in the USA, and there was a position that was found in, there was an opposition between the Navy and the US Air Force, and there was somebody that tried to reveal the truth about this. That was David Fournette. He was a linked member of the US Air Forces. And his idea was to give a press conference by surprise and show a film, a very well-known film, which is authentic. It's Leyuta, that's the name of the film, coordinated with the Navy, some personnel of the Navy. And this established that the UFOs were unknown. But while he was preparing to do this, the intel services started controlling, and then we will see a text that we will try and see when we have the image, where Fernández confesses that they were forced to stop talking about the subject openly. This was the second opportunity where we are now, and this is a state secret, closely exposed, openly exposed, sorry. Let's keep going maybe from there, if it's possible. Okay, 2 or 3 minutes. I'll keep going. The cover-up shows us clearly that the governments are investigating this subject. In the personal case, in 2011, the Air Force Argentinian created an investigation, a research commission, and we were invited to participate. I was the first one civilian that was invited there to work there at HONOVI and speak about pilots and members of the Air Forces from Argentina, pilots and radar guys that had already viewed some UFOs. This commission worked very well the first 2 years. And we met many times. And then I met somebody who has a different treatment approach to the subject, and he has a different analysis specifically. They analyze pictures. But we are not participating so much on it because the approach is different, and we hope that this commission can really get back the spirit when it was created. We will see that in some of the images that I will show you. But if I go back, making a little bit of time, and I will speak about the personal observation. What motivated me to investigate this subject is because I saw something in 35 meters. I saw a UFO 35 meters away from me that you saw at the beginning, and surprisingly, when one saw the films from the 50s where the UFOs were attacking the Earth, literally, what we can see is a flying saucer, exactly the same one. Therefore, we can see two things. First of all, that the movie's directors were testimonies and not the opposite. And the second is that the flying saucers, no matter what the skeptical people say, they are there. And in every statistical, at least in the Argentinian ones, and I think this happens all over the world, the helicoidal form of the UFOs is the same all over the place. In Argentina, there are also people that exist, but not the flying saucer. So this happens in different places. I will continue speaking a little bit, advancing to what we will say. What you will see is a summary. It's not my opinion. It's a case summary. I give my opinion particularly, but this doesn't have weight. Even if with colleagues, I don't want to contradict with the colleagues because that have already spoken, because all of them have their own knowledge and their own past, and we don't have to contradict, but I will show something that I believe that gives weight to the matter. And it's a statistic from 1,800 cases. These 1,800 cases are 70 years of history from a country, in this case Argentina. And we will refer to the landing phenomenon, not cases only of viewing, simple viewings, but cases of objects that are less than 20 meters high, objects that have magnetical effects in testimonies or animals, and third grade encounters and fourth grade. In this summary, we are talking about 20% of the cases. The other 80% are viewings. We are living away from these cases. There's one situation that happened in a personal way. I met a scientist, Dr. Will Smith. He was a physician, North American physician, and he was the right hand of the Dr. JOSÉ He was his right hand. He was the father of ufology. In Argentina in 1984, he told me, Carlos, we have to gather together all the Argentinian cases and make a full statistic. And this was an important labor, but that's what we started doing then. In 1999, I had the opportunity to be in Miami and also in Korea. And there's a colleague here from Chile, Ruben, who was on place, on site, and he will speak tomorrow. When I went to Dr. Smith's house, I told him, Doctor, I have all the statistics here. And he said, oh, but this is useless. It's useless. I was there, but come on, I've been years gathering all this information, all this material. And he said, no, I'm going to tell you. It is useful, but the only way that this is useful is that each one of the cases has to be qualified. Otherwise, this is only a compiling of the cases. But now this labeling the cases, it's very difficult. And he said, but you have to do it. That was the last time I saw him. And I could do this last documentary that I did, that is on the internet, and then in that case I had to qualify the cases. How can we know if the witness from somebody is truthful related to another one when we don't have the study element, when we don't have films, when we don't have photographs? And this, we did it some years ago. And it has to do with three factors. When something is strange, which this is a strange phenomenon, the things that are strange, the information source and the witness credibility. The three, each one of them has different sub-items. Totally there are 36. So when we prepare the cases, gather the information, I had to review them more than 80,000 times. And then I had to check sources, witnesses. I had to review information constantly. This reviewing from these 80,000 cases, one and another and another and another time, this allowed me to find more than 41 variables that were established long time ago, many years ago. But the idea was to contrast the cases from our country with the cases that happen in different parts of the world. We study everything. We studied the credibility from the witness, the profession, the age. We studied the days of the week, the months, the years. We studied the place where the ovnis had appeared and disappeared. The distance from the witness to the object, the footprints, size, form. We studied humanoids, the aspect, the behavior, the form. It's 41 variables. From each one of them, we had incredible conclusions. I'm sorry, everything is fine now. Okay, now we're going to be very fast because there are many images, slides. So we will go forward to what we've already seen. Rudyard Kipling. No, come on. Again. Oh. No, it doesn't work. If we can you go to the next one? The problem is the... Okay, let's continue. Afterwards, we will see all the images like a waterfall, so to say. Okay, let's see if we manage. Maybe I have the file in another place as well. Now let's see if we can see it. Now, here it is.
Bueno, las podemos ir pasando así. Aquí tenemos un archivo. Aquí lo tenemos. Okay. Pero acá también.
Maybe we can see it like this. But if not, you also have it here. Okay. What we were talking about, all the qualifying, this is the tedious part of all of it. But when you reach the conclusions and you find constants, so that you have an idea, an example, the percentage of following that ovnis that followed planes, it's UFOs that follow planes, it's over 20%. In Argentina, it's practically the same. The time law that Jacques Vallée determined, Jacques Vallée, the researcher, is that's what we followed perfectly in Argentina. The first negative density law, the UFO is against the high density population, and this law is also fulfills itself. The constants of age of the witnesses, the witnesses that have been identified and the ones that haven't. So when one sees the Argentinian case during these 70 years and 1800 cases, one realizes that the phenomenon has an operational system which is universal. When the skepticals and deniers say to us that the phenomenon is something puzzling because there's a lot of confusion and lots of things, they don't want to examine the evidence that we are presenting or that presents itself in different parts of the world. The phenomenon has a coherent behavior and it has a physical reality beyond the other one that we will try to treat now, because treating only the measurements and the footprints and it's not the key. The idea is to see which is the intentionality behind the phenomenon or what happens after these thousands and thousands of cases. From these 1800 cases, there are 300 that were discarded straight away, and now we have 1,500. And from these 1,500, through this qualifying system that I was telling you about, there are 151 cases that are the cases that are irreducible, the cases that have a top point, and that's where we can find the prime matter to study. And also among these cases there is the case of the pilots. The pilots, there have been also in Europe and in Argentina some people denying it. You will see that I'm always speaking about deniers because they have been attacking me very strongly because they know that I was on their side. So now they have a problem with this. The cases of the pilots' cases are very interesting because they are testimonies which have been highly trained and they have a sophisticated instruments on the air and on earth, and they have support from the earth. And there's a point which is crucial, and we will see it in a case in Argentina from a pilot, a very important pilot, that has to do with the fact of his personal reputation from the pilots when they go out and explain about an experience about the UFO. This is very complicated for them, and despite that they do it. And when they do it, they demonstrate something, that the situation has overcome them, and they have had to come out and inform openly. And this is the case that happened in Bariloche, Argentina, on the 31st of August 1935. I don't know if we will be able to do it already. We will proceed with the PowerPoint, but we will not be able to listen to the audio. There were some recordings, but we will try to... Okay, now yes. We are talking about the document, the Italian document. Super reserved, top secret. We will start here. Here is 19th July 1952, with what we saw. Mayor de Fournet, that's the person who tried. I think this is a homage that we will have to recognize him, the ufologist, in the future, because he tried to say the truth. And what I said, what he declared when the intel services appeared, they destroyed the problem. They ordered us to work in a national campaign of ridiculing and putting articles in reviews and preparing TV emissions that will make that UFO reports are silly. If there was a case which was important, they had to explain quickly, invent something that finishes the subject and ridicules the witness, even if they are pilots. If this is not cover-up, what is it? Okay, that's his grave. I hope one day we can recognize his effort and these people that wanted to give the truth away out. Hynek wanted to explain about his experience. He was the first ufologist in the world. He is in Argentina. We will see them pretty quickly. He is Dr. Will Smith together in Argentina, and he's the one that asked me to do the study of the statistical study. There's an anecdote that Smith told me. Cuando Hynek was working from the Blue Project, Mayor Quintanilla, who's sitting here, Hynek came to the office of Quintanilla's office. There was nobody there. And on top of the table, there were some reports from pilots, very important pilots. He read them and then he said, okay, tomorrow I will ask Quintanilla to give me these reports. When the next day he went there, Quintanilla said, no, there's no report. This is not true, the reports are not here. From that day on, Hynek was trying to check that. And after examining the case of the policeman in Zamora in the 64, he realized that there was a reality that overcame him. We will speak in this conference a lot about Jacques Vallée and Allen Hynek. Hynek also said something very important in Rosario in '82. Our first mistake as ufologists is to run too much, to adopt any theory in particular. Don't get fixed in any one of them. This steals freedom to think and to examine evidence. And also Hynek, there's a definition that was the best one that it had been done about ufology. We can define UFOs as the perception of an object or a light seen on the sky or on the ground, which appearance, trajectory, and general dynamics, and light conduct doesn't correspond to anything conventional. And it stays without identifying after the scrutiny made by people that have the technical abilities to analyze it and to continue with the investigation. Inform or perception, object or light,
cielo o suelo.
A sky or ground.
La que nos desvela y que no podemos develar todavía.
And this is the one,
va el ovni cuando se va?
what happens when the UFO goes? Where does it go when it goes?
Jacques Vallée, para mí el investigador viviente más
the living researcher, the most important living researcher in nowadays,
nos dijo que hay que
he said that we have to make a lot of studies before we are in position to know what happens. And he also said our essential job is to gather observations on a list completely documented. Why are statistics important? For many factors. I won't speak about it, but this shows us a little bit what's important and what's important in statistical job. This is what I told you. I had a little bit more hair than now. Here's Dr. Smith in 84 in Argentina. And here we are in December 99 in his house, when he told me that all that I had done until now was not important. 32 years to recollect information and 5 years with the statistical job. Evaluation that I was telling you about has to do with strangeness, credibility, and the certitude index is the last value that represents the most exact information about the veracity of a case.
Okay, let's see. These are all the factors that interfere in one of these on these events. All of these are the strange factors that we found in this field. And now, in the credibility, we analyze all these factors. Okay. So each one of them, the witnesses, has a different marks, different evaluation, and we do it with each and every case that we found. I don't know if we're gonna be able to show all of them, because it's going really fast. It's not the same a case with one witness than a case with 10 witnesses. It's not the same one case with a group of friends that witness something than a group with there's no friends involved. So this is important when we have to analyze the cases, and as well the age frame as well is important of the witnesses. This is going to be long. It's going really slowly. It used to be all at once. There's all the different facts that we analyze. Teletransport, pictures, filming, effects to the animals, diameters and distance study. It's going to be long because it's 41. Well, but we're going to talk about some of them, not all of them. The most difficult thing about this was reading sources of information constantly. So imagine to take each and every one of the books of the library or newspapers and start analyzing them. I remember that Jacques Vallée, in his Magonia catalogue, he had lots of cases, hundreds of cases approximately, and we're talking about 1,100 cases.
es la radiografía
So
de lo que investigamos,
this
de
is
lo que
what
analizamos.
we analyzed and investigated, even the speed of the UFOs.
Y aquí esto es lo importante.
And here's important thing, the questions that we used to make ourselves, what Jacques Vallée used to tell, there's a global patterns.
¿Cuáles son los hechos físicos?
Is there any global patterns? What are the physical facts from the phenomena? Is there any place where they manifest themselves? What's the cultural fact and social facts around it, and what's the impact into the human
Aquí está
beings?
toda la estadística totalmente.
That's the whole statistics. These are the most interesting cases. It is the irreducible cases that I was telling you before.
Por supuesto, bueno, todo esto ya lo
Well, this
sabemos,
is what we know. 80% of the cases are confused by any other phenomena, from weather balloons, clouds, just shipping boats, or halos, solar halos.
de ese universo de casos positivos.
In this positive universe of cases, these are the three last ones that we are interested in.
Y de ahí sacamos tres
And
grandes
then there's
verdades.
three big truths. The phenomena appears uninterruptedly since the 40s. It presents in front of any type of sociology of people of any kind. And
Vamos a ir más rápido aquí.
I'm gonna speed up here. I don't know how long I got left, but
Bueno, un psicólogo, William
a
McDowell,
psychologist, William McDowell,
enumeró los actos de los seres vivos que
he
nos
named
permite diferenciar de
the acts
algo.
of the human beings that you can differentiate them from
La espontaneidad del
mechanical
movimiento, la
mechanical
persistencia, la
things.
actividad, la variación
So
de
to
la
be
dirección,
spontaneous, to
la
persist in the
combinación de los
activity,
movimientos y la preparación para una nueva situación.
doing different maneuvers
Las cinco son las
and
que
preparing
tienen
for a
una-
new situation, preparing themselves for a new
En
situation.
junio de 1965 tuvimos
June
varios casos en la
65,
base aeronaval de Punta Indio,
in Punta Indio Air
base
Base,
estratégica.
in strategical base in
Lo
Argentina.
importante era que los ovnis seguían
The
a los
important thing is the
aviones
UFOs were
constantemente.
following the planes, the airplanes all the time. We were escorting them.
Tal es así que se
it was-
colocó un radar nuevo.
So eventually
Para tratar de ver si el
they set
problema
up a
lo
new
tenía
radar to see
En
if
el
there was a
radar
problem
nuevo
with the
también
old
aparecían los
radar.
ecos.
So there was
Y así
they could
se
see that
llamó
the new
directamente
radar
a Estados Unidos y vino una
picked them
comisión oficial
up
de
as well.
Estados Unidos para ver lo
So
que
they
estaba
would
ocurriendo ahí.
communicate with the US
Con la
to
comisión
see
de
what was
Estados
going on
Unidos
over
en el
there.
lugar pudieron
So the commission
corroborar
with the
que el
US
fenómeno se
involved,
presentaba
they could
constantemente. Y un piloto
certify that it was a phenomena that is happening all the time. And
a
one of
enfrentar
the
esta situación con su
pilots
avión y
went
estuvo
up
muy cerca
there
al
with
ovni.
a scramble
Y
jet
bueno,
with
lo importante es que
himself,
todos los
and the important
pilotos
thing
intervinientes
that all the
ratificaron la
pilots
presencia
that were
de los ovnis siguiendo los
interfering,
aviones.
they
Acá vemos
could see that they were following
en
them.
California,
The UFOs
cómo
were
se va
following the planes.
acercando
You can see
el
one
ovni.
here approaching
Esto era lo que
the
hacían en
plane
la base
going
aeronaval de
past.
Punta Indio.
This is in Punta India base in Argentina.
Bueno, tenemos más casos.
We have a lot more
En este
cases.
caso
This
es
case
un
is in a
piloto, pero en
pilot.
tierra.
He was on the
Saca una
ground.
excelente
He
foto
took
de un
incredible
ovni en
picture
Argentina.
of a UFO in
Yacanto.
Argentina, in Yacanto.
El ovni estaba a unos 100 metros de
It was
distancia,
around 100 meters of distance. It looked like flying disc. It was checked by technicians and it was analyzed by the Navy of Argentina and the Air Force of Argentina, sorry. And yeah, they certified it. So you could see that the horse is just looking in between the UFO and the witness. We got cases of almost crashes in between planes and UFOs. You could see there was an airplane that was going in about to crash with the UFO, and then the maneuver of the UFO, you could see it. We have a lot of UFOs around military bases as well in Argentina. The speed of the percentage of speed of these UFOs match the ones the studies from France about it. So the conclusion is the same. Is this one? The can go 667 seconds per second. Sorry, meters per second. Sometimes these are international cases. I'm gonna not talk about it. This is going the U.S. pilot. that was driving a helicopter, and the helicopter got involved into the magnetic field on the UFO, and it got dragged. We have this case of this pilot in Mexico that was escorted by 3 UFOs, and in the case of the Japan Airlines, it was very important because there was a lot of effects afterwards, and the huge shape and of the mass of the UFO compared to the planes. In Argentina, we have as well a huge UFO. It's a case that happened to a military from the Argentina police, and there's the official report that was made. The most important case of pilots was the July 31st, 1995, where before the presence of an Argentinian Air Force plane, and then an aircraft, an airline that was going to land, and then the UFO, a 30-meter diameter, appeared to the right wing of the plane, so it was about to crash. They both were about to crash, and then at the determined point, when the airline pilot is about to land, there's an electric shutdown in the Bariloche airport. So with this situation going on, the pilot was cold-blooded, and he decided not to land and just to turn. UFO just follows and does the same maneuver. It speeds down till 400, 600 kilometers per hour, and then it speeds up to 4,000 kilometers per hour, and then in an angle, just disappears. So everyone that saw this, they all say a very important thing. There's no possibility, there's no chance that any terrestrial aircraft can do the maneuvers that flying disc was doing in Bariloche. So here we have all the pilots and witnesses and the main witnesses with a lot of years of flying experience. There's an official report that the commander did, and it was a strange evolution. That's what we say. It was going just right up in a closed angle and really quick. This is a recording of where the pilots are talking between each other, and I have a transit, I have a UFO. We are 7 miles away, and then in the second image, the most important thing of all of this is the last one. We've got an object from the Bariloche airline, where the passengers were flying. We have one UFO on the right, and we have another airplane, which is the one from the Argentina Air Force. So we are in front of a flying saucer. That's what the pilot said. Cannot hear it properly, but let's listen to it. No. Okay, here we are with a colleague from Argentina, and with Jorge Polanco, the pilot. It's 4 years ago. It took my attention that in the TV program he declared what this we're not going to talk about. This is the investigation of the UFO phenomena in Argentina with the pioneers of the field. I would like to say that Ariel Rieti was one of the pioneers, and he was friend of the Pope, of Francis the Pope. Another of the cases that we mention in these statistics is the Antarctica. The Captain Perizei was the person who directly spoke out loud about the presence of the UFOs in Antarctica. Well, here we have other graphics, and we can see the activity of the UFO phenomena in Argentina, and the peaks and of the phenomena. In the wave, the UFO wave that we had in the 2002, all of them matched. So there's activity, cyclic activity of the phenomena. Here we have Argentina and we have the French ones up in the graphic. So it's a universal graphic, pretty much. The area of Argentina where we have more cases is the less dense population area. The fourth, number 4. We have 2 inhabitants per square kilometer. So where we have more UFO activity. And then when they have to disappear from the site, they all disappear to the west and to the Patagonia area. That was interesting. We compared to Spain, and the peaks and the disappearation of the UFOs, they all matched in the statistics with the Spain and Argentina. Hynek talked about the geographic manifestation and the reduced temporal manifestation. That shows us that the phenomena established in an area for a while and then goes to another area. Our hypothesis is the constant of 4 days, of 96 hours. So we are before the presence of cigar-shaped UFOs, and different days during some period of time they appeared and then they disappeared. That's the schedule of the timeline of when they pop up and when they appear. This is the distance between the witnesses UFO. So there's the distance between the witness and the UFO, so 450 meters. And we have here Hynek and Juan Antonio Rivera in the picture, and they talked to each other, and he said, Hynek said, if you see an object from far away, you don't know what it is, but when you see a road, a car in the road, we can see the details of it. In the UFO field, it's all the way around. So as more close to the phenomena you are, the more strange is the phenomena. This is a study of the distance and strangeness of the phenomena. So you can see that you can even see the brand of the car. But with the UFO, it's the other way around. You can see something that we don't know what it is. That's proved here. The blue line, the peak of the blue line, shows us that the witnesses that are more close to the UFO, they represent the highest cases of strangeness. So it's something to do with the lunar law. It's something we see at night in front of the sea or here. We can see that the moon comes up really big, and as it goes up, it gets little, it looks smaller. That's optical phenomena. That it only happened with a real phenomena only. We have done an analysis of the diameter and the distances with the witnesses and UFOs, and the ones that they are more they're close to the UFO, they have a lower rate than the ones that they are more far away from the UFO. This is a law that only happens when there's a physical manifestation, not with hallucinations. And in Argentina, you can see in the statistics as well, you can see that the witnesses that are very close to the phenomena, they give you a low rate, and the ones that they are more far away, they give you a higher rate to the UFO. This is the disc shape of the phenomena. It's the majority of them. There's a lot of cases of them we brought to show you, even different times and dates. They all have a similar. This is a cigar-shaped UFOs, the luminous ones. In different parts of the world, they appear. Practically the same, and there they are. And then sometimes we do comparative studies between different countries. So we can see over the sea, or the cigar shape in a position like that, as you can see. And as well in halos of light and contact light. It happens in Spain, Argentina, in different places, in Australia as well. Yeah. They'll show the effect of the compact light. That's what the witnesses say that takes their attention. We have 30 blackouts and a lot of different effects to the vehicles. There's a case that the witness, Macias, that he passed away in Argentina route that he was doing, and he saw a big light in his background, and he thought it was a big car, and then he saw that it flown over him, and then the van was dragged like 200 meters. The effects on the witnesses are on the skin as well, and then psychologically as well. Effects, the more credible witnesses are the animals. That's what I don't know if there's anyone from France here. I don't know. This guy, more important guy in the wall of the UFO. Jaime Michel was the one that had more knowledge about it, and he didn't believe about this mass history that some psychiatrists were saying back then. So you can see here the crop circles. Here in Argentina happen everywhere, like burned soil or marks on the floor, as well some combined. There's a case here. There's a judge that interfered in this fact, and he said just basically just to throw soil on top of it to try to cover it up physically. It's like as well, they don't want to see the reality. But you see what's happening in Argentina right now. You can see all these crop circles. All that hasn't appeared till now. It's happening now as well. It's happening right now, and the most amazing thing about this is that it doesn't go mainstream. The witnesses call us, the investigators, and say that this is happening or that's happening, but don't tell that it was me, because the people are going to ridiculize me. So that's the witness point of view. See this crop circle in Chicoana, in Salta. This is the diameters of them. All of them 7 meters diameters, huge ones. We have as well unidentified submerged objects, USOs, and we have a lot of cases that go under the water. These are the statistics. Over the sea, it's 45%. And we have all of that in the documented. There's a case in January and February in the 1960 with all the Argentinian army chased some USOs. There was 35 contacts, 21 attacks. We're going to see it now. 21 attacks, and they throw 17 charges to some strange object that was submerged. So Arturo Frondizi was in charge back then, and I could talk to him. And he sent a letter to me. We were just talk a long time about this case, and he granted me that there was not any Russian submarine at all. So the objects get out of the water and then go in the water and then get out, as it happened to Carlos Corozan, a witness from the Patagonia, that saw a cigar-shaped UFO going into the water. There's pictures of the UFOs that go in and out of the world of the sea. Sorry. In Argentina we had one, but in 1965. So there's witnesses that they take pictures of that. In this case in Florida, in '78, there was different witnesses. The most important back then in Argentina we had the dictatorship. So when the witnesses go to the police to say that they've seen a UFO, well, the police said that if they couldn't arrest them if there was contradiction in the witness report. So even though that they continued telling what was happening. So what happened? The own police, the report that they just published, they confirmed that it was a UFO that landed on the ground, and they left some marks on the guy was the pilot of that UFO. Just as you can see, to get out of the UFO and just go back in and just then flown away. There was like a human figure shape with a helmet up to 2 meters of height. That's where apparently where the fisherman and the UFO was. That's the picture of nowadays of the area. Another case that I had to investigate was Manzano Amargos. We are talking about a farmer, a guy that just takes care of the animals, and he saw a UFO and the presence of two shapes, two humanoid shapes of 1 meter of height, and then you could see at 1600 meters of latitude. So the witness doesn't know how to write and how to read. So when he saw the UFO, he thought it was the end of the world. But then afterwards, he was doing a description of the humanoid, and he said, "They talk to me, but I understand what they talk about." In La Plata city, where I live, we had another interesting case in June 1980. We're basically talking about a third kind encounter that happened to a police that was experimented in seeing objects in the sky. So in the nighttime, he said that there was an object similar to the one we see in the picture. So we show in the picture. I said that's what I saw, and he said that the UFO went down to really close to the house, and at some point he was in driving the car with his wife, and he took his gun out, and he stepped out of the car, preparing himself for the situation, and his wife was saying, "No, don't do that." So when we got out of the car, at the other side of the road, we saw this cigar-shaped UFO. This UFO, there was three windows that they're orange color, and you start to see different shapes and human figures, shapes that you can see that they are gesticulating to him. That's what he said that he saw. These are the humanoids with big heads and big eyes that were looking at him. The object was just flying really, really slowly, and then they took a vertical position, like in the picture, and then he just went to a point in the space, and two other crafts just joined them, and then they went away. So these basically different drawings of from what the witnesses are seeing. We have more than 2 meter high humanoids. We have little ones, smaller ones with helmets, with suits. We have little ones, or as little without helmets. All of them with different features, physical features. They are appearing since 2002. This type of humanoid, similar to the ones that appear in the US in the 50s. The features as well. and this one, they're humanoid shapes with different features. But I like to talk about this one in particular, which is more than 2 meters high, red eyes, like a long cape or mask, wearing a mask, jumps 5 or 6 meters high, can jump, you can throw like a lasers, compact light, and the police on some different occasion had tried to shoot him because they were scared.
Hay caso de un policía en la provincia de La Pampa que ante la presencia de un ovni sale,
when he saw a UFO, he just got out of the town of General Pico, and then it disappears. And then they found, the police went there, and then they found everything but him, in the, just on the floor. He appeared 18 hours afterwards. I'll show you how he appeared. He was in a fetal position, saying that some humanoids with the red eyes were just threatening him all night. He was abducted, apparently. In this case, it's very shocking to see this picture. This witness had to go to the hospital, and when he came out of the hospital, he was just retired. They retired him, so he's not working in the forces anymore. He was okay afterwards. So, because there's some cases then people have shocks, very important shocks, and eventually they recognize that it's been positive for their life. But this case was really impressed. I was very impressed about it because it was really a complicated situation. There's some other policemen that were there. They saw the effect on them. When they saw the UFO, they just took their guns out, and at this point they feel a neurological effect, and they lost the sense and the control of themselves before the presence of the UFO. Then the fourth kind of encounters, low cases. There's not a lot of cases in Argentina, but there's all a linking pattern between them, all of them. Captured, examination, deliberation, excursion, coming back, and consequences. That was one of the more famous cases of Travis Walton that I could meet him in Brazil 3-4 years ago. In Argentina, one of the cases, the more important cases, is Julio Flander in La Pampa. Julio Platter in La Pampa, sorry. So he saw a big light inside his car, surrounds him, and then appears inside a place being examined by 4 figures, 4 humanoids. And there's a case, it's a non-well-known case that happened in Mar del Plata, beautiful city from Argentina, from which I've been living for 21 years. I want to show you the picture because it's Carlos was a witness that passed away from cancer some months ago. It was very interesting. I was doing a conference in 1999, and he was waiting for me with his family when I got out of this conference. He was waiting for me, and he said, I need to talk to you because I have to explain my story that happened to me a long time ago. So 31 years before that happened to him. And that's the area, that's the house where he lived. You can see bricks, but the bricks were not there when that happened. There was just a little fence with them. He said that he was not lying in the bed, but not sleeping, because it was 9:30 at night, in the evening, and then he was in the bed, and the doors were open, and 2 humanoids appeared, like the ones in the picture. The important thing is that he said, I was not afraid, I was not panicking. He had a telepathic transmission to his brain in his own language. don't be afraid, follow us. So they escort him, one on each side of him, and they took him out. They put him under the object that throws a laser, a light beam, and he lost consciousness. And when he wakes up, he finds himself with half the body inside, half of the body outside of his own house. And then a little mark on his forehead. And he thought it was a dream when he woke up. Well, but what happened? When at some certain point in the outside the house, and a tractor just passed over the where all the animals were pasturing, and then he saw the marks on the floor from the UFO they took the night before. So that's when he triggered the whole situation for him, and he started to realize the whole phenomenon. And for 31 years he just kept secret about it. We did hypnosis and 14 interviews and 3 hypnosis sessions. There's a lot of things that came out of those progressions and hypnosis. Okay, it's not working properly, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna put them all there. Have a look. The first regression, they're not human. They use us. They've been here since the beginning. There's a pen on what in the second regression they said that the pen was on his forehead, and that what it got the information from him and give information. The space has no time. And they observe us as one that could observe through a little hole in the ground. In the third and the fourth regression, he said, I'm in the kind of hospital surgeon room where there's a lot of there's a panel, and there's a pressure on my head. There's some constructions under the earth where I'm at. So it looked like Mars or the Colorado desert. So, but he said that there were cities down there. I don't know, everything is destroyed. Why they show me this? They don't tell me anything. They just look at me. Oh my God, there's a lot of silence. When I think this destruction had already happened other times, I feel like a mental voice that said, okay, you understand, finally. So this is an ecological message about it. So the rebirth permanently is the beauty of it. These are the drawings that he did about the whole what happened to him, and these are the humanoids that he said the encounter. Here's the stone obelisk in the city. Okay, what's the part that links all these persons? First is the impact of then the positive of the phenomenon, and they become a better person afterwards. The UFO phenomenon has been ridiculized, and we have situations like this on the internet. We see pictures like this, and we see them everywhere. When we see the real one, we see that it's another thing. We see pictures like this is the real one, and then on the internet, they just add up stuff on it. There's an Argentinian case, very interesting. I always show in all my conferences. 60 Americans said that the UFOs abducted them. That's in the newspaper. The next day, hundreds of thousands of persons should have been abducted by UFOs. Then next week, they say 3 million of Yankees have been abducted. They all come from the same news, the same source. So that took my attention. You see some of the news in Argentina, CAMACHO in the south. The UFOs invaded all of Santa Fe. The Chaqueños go crazy because of the presence of ET. People going crazy in Mar del Plata. All of these cases. There's one that is very very funny. The Martians are here. They're not very high. They're small and they love to rape you. So that's what was on the news. All of this shows us that we are in a massive weapon of manipulation, the media. So thanks to the internet we are here, but TV and internet and all the media started to ridiculize the phenomena. The scientists that are against the phenomena, Menzel and Stephen Hawking or Carl Sagan, they were big scientists and they were going to be in history. Hawking is still alive. But they denied the reality of the phenomena. Maybe
fear is one of the highest and biggest emotions. I will show you what's happening now. The top line is the line that of the witnesses that allow us to know who they are, and the purple line is the ones that are don't want to go out because they are afraid of being ridiculized. They are now together. The quality degree of the cases has reduced, and now it's going to the decade of 50. And that's we can see now that there are lots of investigators. Everything is centralized into the image. Of course, there are scientists like McDonald who said that ovnis were the biggest problem, scientific problem from the 20th centuries, and affirm the existence of the phenomenon. We won't be able to see Dr. Claude Poet, the study he did. He's a French, he's doctor in astronomy, and with simple questions he shows that the phenomenon is possible. He took all the cases, date and place of observation, and the meteorological conditions of the moment. And he discovered that the studied cases, they respect the optical laws. There are only two possibilities. Either the phenomenon has and shows all the characteristics from something really observed, or thousands or millions of witnesses agree on something all over the world to choose dates and places of observation. Therefore, we are in front of an unknown phenomenon. Then they ask themselves if the phenomenon that they have observed is a bad interpretation of known phenomenon, and for that he has he takes into account distance and duration. So we have three types of durations: short, long, and intermediate. These are the three types of duration. As you can see, curiously, we won't be able to see all of this. It's a very interesting study where he gets to the conclusion that we have three hypotheses: unknown phenomenon, testimonies that had to agree on something, or witnesses have had false perceptions, because the last ones are not admissible. Claude points out that we are in front of phenomenon that have really been observed by witnesses, and the phenomenon has a known coherence, and the ovni phenomenon has a very interesting scientific interest, so that we see, we have the graphics here, the duration of the cases has nothing to do with the known cases. The study talks about the French inner ministry. Here are the personalities that took part in it. It's very serious study, and the definition says that ovnis are a physical phenomenon. It have an intelligent behavior and a high electromagnetic charge. They have nothing to do with natural phenomena or fantasies. It's very clear. I want to close at least with these slides. The sociological phenomenon is in the society. We can see it in different characteristics, many kinds: architecture, science, beer, Christmas trees, everywhere. We try. At least in Argentina, we have managed to do some congresses, and we have been able to invite air forces in Argentina. And this is an official investigation about UFO. There's no better investigation. They were in Mar del Plata, and they gave us a little bill. The Argentine forces created a commission in 2011 due to an UFO that was following a Mirage plane, and this was very surprising to them. And well, here we were in January 2011 with Captain Mariana Mojao, that is not in the commission anymore for the moment. I hope we will have him again, and he's the one that drew this commission forward, and this presentation was in the commission of the Air Forces, this presentation. And unfortunately, we had the possibility to try to find files from the Air Forces, but everything has disappeared. We're reviewing all the files, but we couldn't find. And these are critics from to my book from some pilots. For me, this is an honor that this pilot and Angel Diaz has recommended my book, and he's one of the best researchers in Argentina from UFO. And to finish, Dr. Richard Hines. He had read the book, and he said that he was very impressed by my book. I have to remark, he congratulates me for the possibility of being able to present air security and UFOs. That's something he's working on. And for me, it's I'm proud that a person that's working with all this experience that he has and analyzed my book that way. That's the critique that I got from him. You still have time for the questions? If I still have some time, this is the most important. This part was to see it in peace and so on, like quietly, and has to do with the hypothesis. All of this is a speculation. But after having read thousands and thousands of times the cases, I have to conclude, like Jack Valley, maybe there's a parallel universe that's 10 minutes away from us. UFOs come from other dimensions beyond space-times, which compose a multiverse opposed to the universe. This theory from Ballet is based on Dr. Skinner, an American psychologist, who said, from the conductism, he said that through the constant study that the individual learns, this is the political thing in relation to the terrestrial politics. In UFOs, it's very interesting. The frequency curve of the phenomenon is similar to the learning and reinforcement program. It's a lot of stimuli, one after the other one. The reinforcement programmation control system has to do with this. The actions of a higher organization are always absurd in front of the inferior, but this doesn't exclude the contact or the cohabitation. A drastic modification of an animal conduct can be achieved by reinforcing some actions. The best reinforcement program combines two things.
Lo periódico y lo imprevisto.
What is periodical and what is unknown.
El aprendizaje se vuelve lento, pero continuo.
Learning becomes slow but continuous and takes us to a higher adaptation level, and it's not reversible. In the context are the cyclical observations and activities. Here comes the interesting part. The media prioritized image and quick information cannot see the signal that we are producing. They want the news straight away. They are the changes along at a long time that they want. It's possible that human beliefs may be conditioned without us being aware of it. Direct contact, as the one we see in Arcan contacts, would throw away the whole experiment. This wouldn't be able to use it. With this reinforcement programming, it's slow but constant, and it's the most important. This is unforgettable. Now we can understand why these sightings and all this, we can understand, like for example the cases of seekers that were already seen in the 14th century, and why this dark figure that jumps 5 meters high probably was seen in England in 1800 something, and this had to do with Jack the Springhill, and he was followed by the policeman in England. We can see why some of the drawings that represent gnomes with strange, maybe a girl that is from the third type. We can see that this dwarf from Paraguay. It's a small figure with blonde hair, with a magic wand that can produce miracles, and this happened in Argentina. And now, how does it work, this? The appearing of the phenomenon and its effects are always going forward to the technology of each time. That's why we can understand also how men from Verne, Huffe, H.G. Wells, Lovecraft, Orwell, Asimov, Clarke, all of them were showing also in comic books, movies, and they were always forward. This is also only a hypothesis. We can see now this humanoid figure that we saw in Argentina. Nowadays, Japanese can do it as well. Connected to a tablet and walking. We can understand how an astronomer in 1905 said that that men cannot go on the air, and some years later the Wright brothers did that. We can understand of UFOs that take lights forming humanoid figures. This is connected probably to the holography that Dennis Gabor talked about. And today we can see Elvis Presley singing with Celine Dion together. Easily. We can imagine a control system that can change little by little our reality and change it for something else. This is the mechanism that the Argentinian Jorge Luis Borges, the writer, described in his tale, Tlon Ukbar Orbis Tercius. I recommend this tale from Borges that would show us practically how the phenomenon of OVNI is happening around us. I need that you start finishing. And that's the subject. The subjacent messages. We're going to, we don't have time, I know, but only 4 messages. And now it stopped. Black man. I swear it wasn't me. No, look, here there is. Okay, the white ones came. All of these are characteristics that the phenomenon is showing. Limited contact. The second one, less massive impact. Witnesses from the third type are selective. This is demonstrated in a statistical third grade witnesses were alone. Less massive impact in areas not inhabited. To avoid hurting. It neutralizes any kind of aggression. And the fourth, demonstrates superiority. This is evidenced in the phenomenon all the time. I'm going to the next slide. There's another one that has been studied in Canada where the UFO has 2.5 gigabytes power, similar to a press or a light bulb. Limited contact. Here we are, less possible impact, avoid damage, non-aggression. To show superiority, we are the powerful ones. Those are the most important. And there was someone here. Is there someone from Brazil here? Yeah, there. They had a unique personality, a humanist, like Mariscal Rondon. Mariscal Rondon was the only man in the world that could go into Mato Grosso in Amazonas, applying this technique for that the phenomenon of OVNI is applying right now. And the most interesting about it is that it's incredible how, without killing a single Indian, he managed to colonize the whole area of the Amazon in Mato Grosso. He's a national hero. I think the world has to recognize him, his labor. So please read about him, General Rondon. That's the last one. In October 58 in Barcelona, there was a manifest. The interplanetary is born in the first hours of the day of a new era, when around there's still darkness and confusion. There's a long message, a very beautiful one, that was written in the 58 in Barcelona. I'd like to say that from this place now in Montserrat, I would like to get back and come back to the possibility that the Manifest of Barcelona spoke about in the 58. The journalist, what asks a journalist, a North American journalist, a physician, what are we looking in this great lab? What we find is what we are looking for. Okay, this is a sentence, a personal sentence. That's the last one. Mystery can come back every night. It's a visitor that comes unexpectedly, but he comes to show us our limitations. That's it. Thank you very much, Carlos Ferguson.